start of races and then fading. He's just hit a bit of a brick wall the last couple of...
It's been a humbling opening night for Liqui Intact GP, who had a double podium here. Just picked Gardner to the podium last year by a couple of thousandths of a second. Well, he's desperately trying to cling on to a pull over Brian Mansley. Not a position where you're going to be able to rest on your laurels and be too comfortable, I would imagine.
Bit scrappy on the end, goes through. Marini's hogging the inside line, though. He's almost saying you're going to have to go the long way round, but he goes out.
And slick when you run offline that first corner, you've got to be calm on the throttle. John Hopkins there. Fave, calm down. We heard from Hopper talking to Simon before the race. It's the last 4 or 5 laps where the business end of this race.
There have been times in his career where someone might have probably been able to tell John to maybe calm a bit, because he wasn't exactly like that.
Reminding me of this, where basically he's kicking lumps out the side of a factory Suzuki.
Bit of a twitch just then from Luca Marini. He knows he's under pressure now.
Watching from the sidelines now, though, drilled into him, and what the conversation I'm sure Ben Spees had with him last night, Ben back in Texas. Marini's not getting away. Marini has not got the pace to break up this field at this stage. A crystal clear look at where Marini's really strong, where Marini's weaknesses are, and he can also see how...
When Joe Roberts first came on the scene in Grand Prix, he showed us that he was very good in the wet, and a lot of people said he's got talent.
59. Baldessari and Nagashima have just exchanged the fastest laps of the race. Navarro finally had a range of getting cut adrift. In fact, he's half a second behind Nagashima, who's really picked up his pace. The Japanese...
Navarro's got time. He's just in the background there, number 9, the speed-up rider. Here, just behind this man, Tetsuta Nagashima. He's got one of the most lovely riding styles you'll ever see on a motorcycle. But back at the front, it's Roberts, Martin in 3rd, Baldessari, last year's race winner in 4th, Bastianini 5th, Vierge, City.
We know how brutally hard it is to be competitive at this level. This is the elite level in motor. He makes it look so easy.
Yeah.
We know it's not, but he makes it look like...
I want to look back at that one too often.
Martin nailed it.
Yeah, he did. Bezzecchi must have run into a bit of trouble here.
Things launch off the line. You can see there briefly he's got his front wheel in front of Joe Roberts, but it meant that Roberts had the inside. It's nicely done. He's having a good old tussle and joust here with fellow Italian Lorenzo Baldessari. Ford going to hit the front? No. Content at the moment, just to let Marini have it.
Yeah. Baldessari's got back through on Bastianini in the battle for 4th.
And what will for restart? He knows he's got the pace to run with these guys.
All he's going to be thinking of is it's all or nothing.
I'll tell you what, just before the millisecond before your first Grand Prix of the season, you're starting it from pole position, a lot of expectation and weight gain. What I fancy for pole and a podium, Joe Roberts.
Oh, like you say, pleasant surprise is the understatement. I didn't. There's no Joe Roberts, and that's no disrespect meant to him or to NTS either, but they've all done collectively a magnificent job.
Marco Bezzecchi, who, to be fair, was responding. Bezzecchi himself was only a tenth slower. His pretty intense scrap at the moment for 7th and 8th.
Baldessari is up to 3rd place.
Navarro, and he's dragging Remy Gardner with him as well. Last time around, Gardner was about a 10th faster than Navarro. And what about life in the tyres? That's going to be the key question.
Daniel Kazmayuddin's debut Grand Prix.
I think it's fair to say, unfortunately for him, it's been the definition of a meterboard, of course. No experience really of racing at this level. He'd have been hoping to have Petronas sprinter rider Vierge. He's not very sympathetic on the front tyre either, as well. There's been a couple of times where you've seen so aggressive on the brakes, but he is asking big questions of that front end right now.
It's 11 laps remaining, and when we cross the line, we'll be halfway through this Moto2 race.
Marini just posing a couple of questions right now to the chasing. Tackle Joe Roberts there. That was 5.49. He took a couple of tenths out of Roberts on that previous lap. You just wonder whether Roberts can still...
A constrictor at the front of races sometimes, Luca Marini just squeezes the life out of you. Let's have a look on board then.
It actually probably looked from the outside camera a little bit worse than what it was. Not going to ruffle the feathers. Pulling the pin here, Marini. 2 tenths out of Roberts on the last lap, and he's done it again. Another personal best lap from the Italian. Here in Qatar, there is nobody that can run the pace of Marini. He's trying to make that crucial break.
Faith in both Marini and Roberts. Bastianini then at the front of that one now. Baldessari just behind, then Vierge.
A determining factor in Luca Marini taking the first win of 2020, because he is going for it here. He's 11th lap already. He's taken another 4 tenths out of Joe Roberts.
In fact, he's setting the same pace as the race leader Luca Marini, the Australian.
With some justification, we've bigged him up before, and that would be a best ever for NTS. Lively indeed between...
Well, like Baldassarri and Martin that might have come together. I think that graphic was a bit wrong there, but either way, Marini now closing up a bit on Joe Roberts in the hunt for second place.
Costly collision. He was third over the line at the start of the last lap, and Martin now is 9.816. Roberts had nothing for him on that last lap. Marini was half a second quicker.
Navarro struggling. He's got Bezzecchi and Gardner for company. Gardner far faster than the two ahead of him, right? Vierke, this is the battle for 5th place.
But who was slightly quicker? We shout Joe Roberts has got a big problem with the number 33 right behind him, although Bastianini himself has got a problem he can't contain.
You know, the two Liquimoli boys, Matt, are going to be kicking themselves. They're lapping.
Got that buffer now, about a second, and he's brilliant in that situation at stage, managing the race. It's good.
Baldassarri and Bastianini looking to make it an Italian 1-2-3 here.
Joe Roberts at 12, he's found 2 tenths on Luca Marini, and now he's just clipped through sector 3, and he's found yet another.
We're entering the unknown, Matt. Crucially, we know Joe Roberts has got the harder front tyre on. The riders he's around at the moment have a significant drop-off here from here on in. Simon?
Yeah, the Dunlop guys say from about 10... we've just passed that the front tyre will start tearing on the guys that use it.
We get to 8 laps remaining.
Getting a bit feisty through the first corner yet again between Baldassarri and Bastianini. Flag as an apology to his fellow Italian. Right, fair in love and war, but Navarro's getting some good rhythm.
3 tenths on Marini. Jorge Navarro also good lap, 59.4. He's in 7th place.
Shima was 7 tenths quicker. We're on board with him now. We're on board quite rightly with the fastest man threat for his first World Championship podium.
Well, it would be Akio would go for Nagashima. There's still a long way to go here in this race. Anything could happen. Japanese rider trying to find a way through on the beast. And Aya Bastianini, the Italtrans man ahead.
That is by Tetsuta Nagashima. That's how you get the job done coming into turn number 15. That was awesome. Taka's going to be getting quite excited. Hope he's got quite long fingernails right now, Mr. Nakagami, because
the late Shoya Tomazawa, if Nagashima was able to start this new decade with a victory together quite nicely here. Half a second now between Marini and Roberts, and the rest of the pack are coming. This was earlier on through and holding on to the lead. That was the only point so far that he's led, other than, of course, stuff.
For half a second. As Navarro up the inside of fellow Spaniard Xavi Vierke on the speed up.
Nagashima, if he could get through on Baldassarri here, he's looking really, really strong. I mean, they're rain forming behind Joe Roberts. Navarro's definitely going to feature. There's still plenty of time for him to even come through to win.
He's coming back to them, and he's coming back to them at a pretty fast rate. Marini's lost yet another 10th already on this lap. It's down performing head and shoulders above anything else we've seen from him as a World Championship rider. Here comes the kitchen sink from the Californian.
Baldassarri knows how it works around this circuit.
Gone, he's disappeared away from the Petronas Sprinter Racing man. Roberts is trying to strike straight back then on Baldassarri. Who's the bravest on the brakes? Joe Roberts has got the inside line. There's no way for Baldassarri to turn in.
Had to have gone straight on or outbraked himself as well, so he did well to pull it up. There's the Petronas Sprinter rider, Xavi.
The speed up, clicks into top gear. It's so good at nursing his tyres. Navarro, fastest lap of the race circuit.
We're in for a finish here. They're all closing on. Marini as Nagashima pounces the door.
Absolute textbook. Baldassarri, though, goes, well, you can have some of it back, mate, and he strikes straight back.
And the eyes up of the speed-up man, Jorge Navarro. This is the stage of the race where he's strongest. But look at Roberts now as well.
The end of that Calex is ridiculous. That was bold and brave in the extreme, trying to get up the inside of Baldassarri. It was caught now. He's got Navarro to deal with as well.
This was really, really tight. Mistake from Marini, a mistake. Here comes Joe Roberts. He might even lose a couple of places here because Balda's coming through from 3rd to 1st. There'll be 5 when they cross the line. What a race we've got in line here.
You can't take your eyes off this one, ladies. It leads over the line to start lap 16. He's under intense pressure, though, from the Italians. Baldassarri, Marini are working through again on Nagashima. Tries it at turn 2. No way through.
Brilliant stuff here. Marco Bezzecchi started to get... believes they can win this race here on the opening night. Bastianini from nowhere. Brilliant late braking. 15 to go.
Is he running out of grip at the crucial stage? Baldassarri again lunges up the inside of Joe Roberts. Can he make it? But Baldassarri's been nowhere since the victory in the Spanish Grand Prix. Almost tell
Qatar, he absolutely loves this place, does the number 7. It's great to see him up there again. But Bastianini also, he's in real trouble.
Shot his bolt, that looks at Marini. 5 laps to go, we're about to get into the 1-2. And then we've got an American and a Japanese and a Spanish rider, a real international. We're in the critical phase of the race, though. John Hopkins called it pre-race. 4-5 laps to check.
And it's about who can manage it the best. Baldassarri's trying to make a break here. Across the line, what a lap. This is a 2-minute 0.1, doesn't sound that great from Baldassarri, but he's now got almost 2/10. Roberts, can he get it stopped?
He had the inside line. Roberts drops back into the clutches of Tetsuta Nagashima, another rider. Him as well. You can't rule out Hoy Navarro as well, who's looking menacing on the speed up.
You can't really rule out a contend, you'd feel.
Marini's pace has dropped off the cliff. He nearly did a 2:02 on the last lap. Marini went...
Nagashima through on Joe Roberts. So for the first time in a long time, Roberts is out of a podium position. The Japanese rider, he's reeling in. Baldassarri now. Could we be in for a surprise winner? Number 33, he's never won a still without a Moto2 win.
Balda versus the beast in the Middle East. Is it going to cut the final corner? Final couple of corners on this lap, number 17. Nothing between.
Shima looks so good, doesn't he? In 3rd place at the moment. We're now coming up to the final turn. So finish straight we go. Balda will lead across the line, but out of the slipstream pops Bastianini.
Here, Bike, he's got the inside line. Has he got on the brakes? Will he lead for the first time? He's up the inside of the 2 Italians. He does this him on the inside. Can Nagashima hold it into turn 2? Yes, he can.
He's standing them all up, and that's invited.
Through the field with some serious paces. Aaron Canet, the rookie, he's now in 8th place on the speed. Awesome job, but brilliant ride by him from 16th on the grid.
Get the kitchen sink, unbolt it. There's going to be Nagashima. I have to say, when he's clear and he's got some clear air, his pace in this race has been brilliant.
You said it, mate. What a fitting tribute this would be. Can you imagine? Almost 10 years since Moto2 race right here in Qatar. I remember those emotional scenes like it was yesterday. Enzo Baldassarri. Nagashima, though, he's cracked that advantage up to almost half a second.
Nagashima never had a podium so far. The Italtrans team are watching on, no fingernails left. Their man
never keep Red Bull KTM out of the picture. They're on course for their 4th straight win as a team. Binder cleaned up the last.
He's blasted them. He's blitzed them. 59.3.
Only 2 guys that were on the same plan in 6th place for the podium, and Marcel Schrotter's coming on really late on in the race. He's in 9th place with a 50 tar, and he leads by nearly a second from Baldassarri.
He's got to hold on to that surely. The 27-year-old Japanese rider who's moved over to Barcelona. His family will move.
Tell you what, Aki doesn't half know how to pick him, does he? What a get.
I mean, we knew he was great and he was sensational last season, but this is just something else from the number 45. And Gardner, his old teammate, might well be on.
He's fighting tooth and nail with these boys. He's on last year's Kalex chassis, which we know is so far. But can anybody reel in Tetsuta Nagashima?
He's got a buffer. He's got a comfort for second on the final lap, and surely that's not going to happen. What a moment it would be for the Japanese rider. They're working if he can hold on to this.
I can feel a lump starting to form in my own throat right now.
Could there be some...
Shima's just found a 1:59.2 on the penultimate lap. Nobody within a mile of him. Look at this red glowing. He's leaving everything out there at the moment. Remy Gardner in search of his first podium, but
Grand Prix it's been for Tetsuta Nagashima without a podium to his name. And he looks on course here to pin at the start of the last decade and sadly passed away later that year. The start of this decade, Nagashima
can't blow it. Surely he can't blow it from this point now. He's deep into the second sector. We'll check his Abu Sector 2, and it's great news for Nagashima fans and Japanese fans because he still leads by 1 point.
The unit there of Joe Roberts is still Balda in second, Bastianini third. Marini, by the way, he's down in...
Wait, it was a second clear, wasn't he, on lap 11? Luca Marini. He's going to just about cling on to a place, and so he's 1 corner away from an emotional, famous victory for the first time in Moto2. What a classic battle that those names have had in the past, but it's going to be Nagashima that's going to get it in Qatar.
Ken, who knew? You knew that was going to happen. The father, that's Marini who's gone down on the last one. What a race here!
Wow, Tetsuta Nagashima just the last 5 or 6 laps on. Nagashima was just untouchable. His pace was sensational. He was